centralized microbial solution for soil health, decarbonization, and nutrient use efficiency.
Hello dear colleagues, so nice to see all of you in the hall. Also yesterday sitting and dancing and now so serious, so I hope that you will smile a bit, not keep the maximum formality for it as well. So let's come to the topic. It's quite important, and I hope that you will enjoy and find it useful. So a few words for those who still don't know us. We are a BTU company, producer from Ukraine with more than 500 employees, covering more than 4 million hectares of arable crops each year, with more than 60 products in portfolio, and with quite a big database of trials, with more than 2,000 of them, with average efficacy of more than 10%, 19% of cases. We are situated in Ukraine, but also have office in Germany, exporting to 25 countries now, and having 20 biologicals registered in different countries of the EU. This is how our factory looks like, and for us it's very important to be able to produce biologicals in big scale, using fermenters up to 60 cubic meters, and providing the conditions to keep the quality, purity and activeness of our products in field. And coming closer to our topic, we will speak about a solution called Ecostern, which is already more than 15 years on the market, used on millions of hectares for the reason which I will explain. So it's a complex of bacteria and fungi, and also enzymes produced by microorganisms, which is used in the end of the season to accelerate the decomposition of plant residues and to improve soil properties. Very important, in the recent 5 years we work a lot for developing the formulation, which is more convenient for the industry and for the farmers, because it's stable for more than 1 year in moderate conditions. So we also work a lot to help our partners to see and to show and to explain farmers that the product actually have worked in field, starting just from visual kind of change of the soil, monitoring of the yield and crop performance, but also with some sophisticated soil analysis. So let's look on the data, some of the data which we have. So here on the right from your side, you can see one of the studies. You can see the years starting from 2011. We had a 4-year study with some Ukrainian institute to see how this technology can help to accelerate accumulation of organic matter in soil. And what you see here is that we succeed to accelerate it almost to 0.2% during this period, which is quite successful. On the other side, you can see on the top that we have tested this technology on different kinds of soil, and even though speed of decomposition is different on different kinds of soil, but we are able to accelerate this process anyway. And on the down, you can see that we can also influence by this process the physical property of soil, like soil density, which is especially important in some areas like Central Asia with compaction of soil, etc. So, speaking about carbon, we know that there is one of the hypotheses that if we accelerate the decomposition of plant residues, there is a risk that we increase also evaporation of carbon. So we made a few tests in this direction, where we see, like you can see on the right, that really there is no significant difference of CO2 emission using this technology. But at the same time, you can see below that there is a significant tendency that we accelerate sequestration of carbon and organic matter in soil, which means it does not evaporate, but it stays and it reaches your soil. And for us it's always important to get not only data from the labs, but also from the fields and from the big scale. In Ukraine we have a big strategic partner called Kernel, who have around 500,000 hectares, and they say there is not any field in their farm which is not treated with this technology. And one of the reasons why they use this technology is on the screen. They did a 3 years study on their fields with different formulations of this product, and in average during these 3 years they get increase of the organic matter in soil for 0.2% of organic matter. If we recalculate this amount into the accumulated CO2, we get around 8 tons of CO2, and with current price of CO2 emissions on the carbon market, like 70–80 euros per ton, you can see that what is the potential of additional profitability for farmers using this technology. So now we are working in this direction too. But speaking about the soil fertility and properties, also there are cases which you can see on the right. For example, floods, then soil solarization, sterilization, when farmers get soil without alive microorganisms. Such soil is not fertile because a lot of functions are performed by microbes, and we hear that in presentations these days. So our approach is to return functional microorganisms to soil to provide its fertility. And we can see from these tests that it really works. What it means in field, we did some tests in Germany on regenerative farms with no deal, because also one of the concerns is how the technology works if we don't incorporate microbes into the soil. So as you can see from this example, in a real case we can improve enzymatic activeness of soil from 10 to 30%, also improve the functional and biodiversity of soil by using such technologies on no-till farms. And then coming closer to Spanish conditions, we also run a few years of studies already here with one citrus grower. We also analyze change of enzymatic activeness in soil during a month, and we can see that in some conditions this activeness can drop. But in case when we support it with microbial solutions, we succeed to reduce this drop from 20% to 10%. And when we combine this method with also modern approach using NDVI services like OneSoil, we also see that it correlates with change in soil, and also performance is better, plant performance is better on the treated area. But for farmers, in most cases, means mainly what they get in their pockets in the end of this application. So we have hundreds of studies on different crops, and from these studies we can see that the return on investment of such technology in the first season, just from the additional yield, is like from $50 to $100 per hectare. How that looks in field in different areas of the world, you can also see on the screen, like in Ukraine, in Germany, Netherlands, and even in Ecuador, we see the efficacy of this technology. And again, coming back to the field and data and kind of quite specific data, we prefer to do 3 to 5 years field studies to get confidence on consistency of work of the products. So you can see that both liquid and dry formulations of this product provide consistent results, in this case on sunflower. Also, we did some studies on GAP standardized research stations in Germany, and on corn we see that the increment of the yield is around 600 kilograms, which covers the cost of the application of the product a few times. And now this technology is becoming quite popular in Germany too. And the last not the least example, in our area, farmers use nitrogen fertilizers to accelerate the decomposition of crop residues on the field. And from our experience, they can reduce the dosages of nitrogen used for this aim, like from half, sometimes even 3 times, so that they don't spend extra money to use this technology, because they just use it instead of some amount of nitrogen. And again, with current prices of nitrogen going up, it's even more important. And in the end, they even get extra yield, which compensate their efforts. So on that, I want to just summarize that biological work. It's our confidence comes from thousands of studies from Ecuador to Japan and in the middle. And keep your passion, be closer to the fields, do studies, demonstrate your efficacy, and I believe that together we will biologize the industry. Any questions?
So you have the product which is a mixture of bacteria and fungi. So how do you maintain the cold chain? Because you mentioned the shelf life was 4 months to 6 months if you keep the temperature below 4 degrees and 0 degrees in the first slide.
Oh, sorry, I am lost in slides. Will not, sorry. Okay, I'll come back quickly to this.
Yes.
So we start work with liquid formulations, stable during 1 year in cold conditions, and then with spray drying technologies and with dry formulations, we find out how to stabilize it as a product to be stable in moderate temperature up to 25 degrees during 1 year or even longer in case of cold storage. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment, Carl?
Always.
So, I don't know how many of you know this. Last night, the founder of this company won the Business Leader Award and the Exceptional Innovation Award. So let's put our hands together for Valentina, please. Because the science which we need in all our innovations and persisting, taking risks is not everyone's cup of tea. So that's why these kind of innovators are required for our, and I'm sure, Carl, you addressed that in your presentation also, how important it is to have dedicated innovators who believe in science and they know science. So thank you.